What's happening, good people? Welcome to Leadership in Real Life, where we talk about what leadership actually looks like in real time. I'm H-Monét, leadership coach and former school principal, helping leaders balance people, performance, and priorities without burning out. Let's get into it. Now, today's episode is for every leader who says, I want my team to think more independently, but somehow your team still waits for you before making decisions, solving problems, or moving things forward. And if we're being honest, that's one of the biggest frustrations leaders experience, because eventually leadership starts to feel like you're carrying everything and everybody, you're answering every question, and then you start to feel like you're mentally responsible for the entire team, which is hard. So today we're going to talk about the real reason coaching cultures fail when leaders are trying to build that independence, and the leadership behaviors that unintentionally create dependency instead of ownership. And by the end of the episode, I'm going to give you a simple framework you can immediately start using to help your team think more independently. It's called the Think Framework, without you having to feel like you got to carry everything yourself. So let's get into it. Okay, so here's the thing. Most leaders think that a coaching culture fails because people aren't motivated, or they don't take initiative, or even people just aren't strong critical thinkers. But honestly, that's not usually the real issue. The real issue is that many leaders unintentionally create environments where independent thinking does not feel psychologically safe. I'm just gonna let you sit with that for a minute. And leaders don't realize they're doing it. And this is because the intention is usually good. Leaders want high standards. They want strong performance. They want quality work. But sometimes the way leaders respond to mistakes or new ideas or uncertainty or discomfort quietly communicates to their team, I want ownership as long as it looks exactly the way I would do it. And that right there is what kills your team's initiative. Okay, so this is what this problem looks like in leadership in real life. You ask a team member to take a lead on a project, and they're willing to take initiative. They come up with an idea, they bring you their first draft. And then before they can even fully explain their thinking, you immediately start to rewrite it, change it, or maybe point out all the flaws, or even tell them like how you would have done it differently. Now, in your mind, you might be thinking, I'm helping, I'm coaching, I'm maintaining high quality or excellence. But the team member then starts to feel like, well, my thinking isn't trusted here. So eventually they stop being willing to take initiative. And it isn't because they're incapable, but it's because the culture taught them that their thinking independently feels risky. Their initiative feels risky and isn't effective. And over time, they stop sharing ideas, taking ownership, or problem solving proactively, or even making decisions confidently, because psychologically it doesn't feel safe. And it feels safer to wait for leadership approval. The leader has now created an approval-seeking culture, meaning people won't move unless you, the leader, sign off on everything. And why does this happen, you may be wondering? It's because many leaders struggle to tolerate productive struggle of their team. The moment somebody struggles, leaders feel uncomfortable because their team member feels comfortable, or they don't feel comfortable making a mistake because the leader will jump in and automatically retain control. And they do this because leaders feel like rescuing feels faster, the control of it all feels safer, and the mistakes make everybody feel uncomfortable. But that creates a problem. The issue is that every time leaders over control, the team confidence shrinks a little more. And eventually the leader becomes the bottleneck, the fixer, the approver, the emotional pressure holder of it all, and the decision maker for everybody. And so leaders start to feel exhausted, and their leadership experience is exhausting. Who wants that? And this is exactly why balanced leadership matters. Balanced leadership is empathy plus accountability plus results, meaning we as leaders create high standards and healthy leadership environments. We support people and develop people. And one of the biggest mindset shifts that leaders have to make is that coaching is not controlling. Let me say that again. Coaching is not control. Strong leadership is not hovering over every decision, monitoring every move, or correcting every mistake immediately. Strong leadership creates environments where people feel safe enough to think, safe enough to try, and safe enough to learn, safe enough to grow. And this is where my Think framework comes into play. Leaders need structure if they're going to stop rescuing and start coaching their team consistently. So the next time somebody comes to you with a problem, a challenge, or uncertainty, or a barrier, instead of immediately taking over, I want you to coach them to think. T, tell me the challenge. You say, help me understand what's happening. Now, this is important because many leaders will react before they fully understand the issue. This slows down the conversation and creates clarity first. H, how have you thought through it? Or what solutions have you considered already? That question right there changes the culture because now the team member understands your thinking matters. Instead of, the leader will just give me the answer. I, identify the barrier. Ask, what's making this difficult right now? And with this question, now we're uncovering fear, lack of clarity, or lack of confidence, or skill gaps. And many times, people do not need rescuing. They just need clarity and coaching to get it done. N, next step ownership. Ask, what do you think the next best step should be? And this is where the ownership really starts to grow because confidence is built through practice, not through dependence. And then lastly, K, keep support clear. Ask, how can I support you without taking this over? I want to make sure y'all really hear the difference, okay? So let's go back through the framework. T, tell me the challenge. H, how have you thought through it? I, identify the barrier. N, next step ownership. And K, keep support clear. And with this framework, you're still supportive. You're still available. You're still engaged, but you are no longer carrying all the thinking for the team. And I just want to say this too. Building a coaching culture takes patience. It takes time. Because if your team is used to the constant approval, the constant correction, or leadership taking back the control, they may initially hesitate when you start to ask them to think more independently. And that's normal. You're changing the culture. And again, that takes time. You're moving from approval seeking to ownership, from fear-based performance to growth-based development. And then over time, you'll start to notice the change. You'll start to see the shift with the stronger initiative, more confident communication, more improved problem solving, proactive leadership behaviors, and then you start to feel less decision fatigue for you. Because leadership should not feel like you're carrying everybody, solving every issue, or mentally managing every decision all day long. Who has time for that? You can build a strong coaching culture. And when leaders clarify, they coach, they develop, and they create environments where the thinking is safe, the ownership and the initiative skyrockets. Not environments where perfection is required. That's not going to get you to where your team needs to be and where your results are strong, positive, and consistent. If you got to carry it all, you're not going to get there, which is why a coaching culture within your organization, within your school community is so vitally important. And this is the beginning of building that culture. So here's what I want you to do this week. The next time somebody comes to you with a question or a problem, pause before taking control back and instead use one part of the think framework first. So maybe they come to you with the problem, you ask them, what solutions have you already considered? Or ask them, what do you think the best next step should be? Start there. Because that coaching culture that you want to build is not built through control. It's built through your clarity, your intentional trust building, coaching, and intentional leadership. And so if this conversation resonated with you, here's what you should do. Number one, subscribe to my YouTube page, Balanced Leadership with H-Monét, and DM me priorities for the Balanced Leadership Clarity Guide and weekly wrap-up routine. Those are two foundational resources to help you get started on your balanced leadership journey. Then visit my website to find out all the ways you can partner with me. And for the month of June, I'm opening up a few Power Hour strategy sessions for free to help you get started on steps that you need to take for your school, your organization, in cultivating balanced leadership. I want to be clear. This isn't a journey that you should do alone. It's definitely helpful to have a leadership community to help get you on the right track. And if you know another leader who's struggling with carrying everything themselves, share this episode with them. Share it with them. Tell them to listen. Leadership should not feel like surviving people all day long. It should not. Leadership is hard, but there's definitely strategies that you can implement to help you feel successful. It takes work, not just of you, but of your team as a whole as well. So remember, lead with heart, lead with strategy, and let's build a leadership that lasts. I'll see you in the next Leadership in Real Life moment. Peace.